world. I hope you're having a great day. So I'm doing another stream today, and it's really because I promised to do this discussion video on Madam Web. So Sony has just released information that we are getting a Madam Web movie. And for all of you who don't know, I'm just going to give a quick rundown on the story of Madam Web, and then we'll discuss the possibilities, right? For lack of a better word. So Madam Web, her name is actually Cassandra Webb, and Cassandra Webb, she was born in Oregon. Let me turn on the music so it's a little bit okay. And she, Cassandra Webb, she actually suffers from this neurological type of autoimmune disease, which is called myasthenia, right? So I think I'm pronouncing that right. Let's look at it a little bit closer in terms of what happens to a person who does have this condition. For the most part, it's muscle weakness. So if we were to look at the body and the anatomy of the body in particular, then you'll notice that the mitochondria and the axon don't properly communicate with each other when it comes to the central nervous system. So then it produces kind of like your body is essentially weak, right? You can't really move muscles the way that you normally would. Certain muscle fibers are not given that synchronized movement. So she suffers from this. Now, even though she suffers from this, she also, just going to go back to a quick picture. She also has different abilities, right? And these different abilities, I'm going to see, is she has like psychic abilities, and she became a medium, right? So from her condition, she actually then had a side effect. The side effect is the psychic abilities which she has, right? So let's talk about her powers, and then we'll get into a little bit of her history. So I'm looking down here. She has telepathy, ability to read minds and project thoughts, astral projection. For those of you who don't know, that's the ability to kind of like project your consciousness outside of your body, right? Doctor Strange has done this in the movies if you watch the MCU, right? Or also read some of the books. She has psychic surgery, right? And mind alteration. Psychic surgery is just the ability to psychically enter a person's mind and then alter it or augment it in a way that makes sense for what the goal is, right? So if you're trying to take away some kind of traumatic, I would say a traumatic experience, she'll kind of go in there to do psychic surgery to remove certain memories or imbue certain memories or things of that nature, right? She can do prescience or precedence, which is the ability to kind of think ahead of what's happening to the future. So she has foresight into what a possibility into the future is. So she also has immortality, but she didn't gain this ability until the Gathering of the Five, which is a whole different comic book series and iteration which she goes through when she gains immortality. Now, immortality doesn't mean that she lost her condition. She still had the condition, but overall immortality meaning that she could do quite a bit, right? So let me just shrink this, right, so that we could see some pictures. Now, I showed that picture for a reason. I think Sony did something pretty genius when they introduced Madam Web. But if we know her story, Black Tom Cassidy, who's part of, I want to say that he's an X-Men villain. He sent Juggernaut to go get her, but as we know, she has precognition, so she knew he was coming, and she asked for Spider-Man to come and help her. Now he comes and help, but Juggernaut ends up getting her. And if you look at a lot of the pictures, you always see Madam Web in a chair of sorts, right? That chair is really kind of like her lifeline, or her life support system, because of her condition. You know, she really can't move. Her central nervous system doesn't allow a lot of different movements, so she can't move to the fullest of her capability. Now, Juggernaut removed her and she seemingly died, so he left her. He left her to die, basically. Spider-Man brought her to the hospital and she was able to go forth. She eventually got saved, and things of that nature. So that's just a quick history. I'm not going to give too much into it because she's still very mysterious. Um, but one of the things that we do know about her is that she has understanding of the future, right? She has understanding on the possibilities of the future. And she's able to send her consciousness in an astral based type way. And the reason why I'm saying that Sony is a genius when it comes to it is because we know that um, Sony just basically got the rights, or not the rights. They didn't get the rights. They basically made a bargain with the MCU, where Spider-Man is back in the MCU for at least one more movie. From this movie, I think along the same timeline that it's happening, we get the introduction of Madam Web, right? Which is pretty cool because upon his ending, right, for the MCU in the third movie or the trilogy, just like we've seen in this Amazing Spider-Man show on Fox Kids back in the day, she could whisk him away in some kind of, like, he goes into some kind of portal at the end of the third Spider-Man movie, and then he pops up in where it could be the universe where Madam Web comes from. From this alone, they could then diverge and have uh, a type of shattered dimensions or Into the Spider-Verse. Now, we already had it Into the Spider-Verse, which was amazing, but then we could have a shattered dimensions type of storyline where we get the introduction. The first introduction, we have a Spider-Man and he has to do a mission for Madam Web, but then he meets other Spider-Men from different dimensions along the way. I think that's a huge possibility. And if they don't want to do it that way, maybe it's the sense that Madam Web is in the same universe as Venom and they need backup. And they get backup from basically Spider-Man, who comes to help in his own type of way, um, to then just create like a really stellar team. So that's it when it comes to Madam Web. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna include a whole lot of different things when it comes to Madam Web and her introduction into the Sony cinematic universe, right? Um, but it's still gonna have some kind of bridge or link into the MCU, right? And I think that bridge or that link is gonna come from the last Spider-Man movie, where we might see Peter being whisked away into another dimension, and which would make total sense if that's the case, right? They may do a opposite version of the Ultimate Universe, and for Miles Morales, because we know that Miles Morales, he basically came from his universe, the Ultimate Universe, and then went into the 616 universe, right? It may be something where our Peter Parker from the MCU universe is then whisked away into the Sony cinematic universe, and then he has to stay there for quite a while, right? Maybe years, which is basically until we get a new contract that reinstates him, right? I think it would be pretty cool, and maybe even, I mean, Sony is not foolish, right? Sony's not foolish in the sense that they're just gonna let Spider-Man rock alone, in the MCU. They're gonna make money off of it. So if Venom does really well again in Venom 2, then maybe they're gonna create a deal where we could see Venom in the MCU at a later time and Spider-Man team up, right? I think it would be pretty cool to see that possibility, right? And this possibility is only, I'm looking down on my phone to see if look at the chat, but um, this possibility is only going to come into fruition because of the whole Madam Web and what we know about Madam Web from her history, and also what we know from from the old school comic books and cartoons and things of that nature, right? So yeah, those of you who are watching, this is gonna be live at a later time. It's live right now, but it's the video is locked, so you won't be able to see it right now. Pardon that. But at the same time, I think you all will enjoy watching this quick video and introduction to Madam Web. I know I didn't give too much about her, just about her powers and also about her neuromuscular disease that she has, her autoimmune neuromuscular disease. But I think it'll give you a little bit of a, I would say, a snippet into the possibility and how good the movie could be, where there's a lot of emotion about who she is as a person and also what she has to go through in terms of the trials and tribulations. So it's not just going to be like a Spider-Man movie from Madam Web. I think if they go the route of her neuromuscular disease, then it's going to lead for a really amazing movie that a lot of people are just going to be like, wow, like that's a really good movie. Because it's about a superhero, it's about a hero, right, who goes through trials and tribulations. She has precognition, and if her ability is to send her, if she has astral projection, then she's kind of be the the Doctor Strange type of that universe. Not really in terms of like magic, but that she could do a lot. I wonder who her villains are going to be, right? Because I don't think the whole Spider-Man concept is going to come until like right at the end of the credit scene. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see the possibility on what could happen. Let me know what you think about Madam Web, and if you're enjoying my content and my videos, drop me a like, comments, definitely comment so that we could jam about it in the comment section for the first hour once this video drops. Share the video if you think that other people want to become part of the Legion of Zen, and I'll catch you all later. Take care, everyone, and have a